Once, I taught philosophy, astronomy, and mathematics in Alexandria. Without succumbing to religion, I spoke of truth with reason and words as my weapons. As a result, I was torn apart in front of a crowd. That was the end of my existence. Why do words kill? No, why do we fear words? Reawakened in the modern era, I am once again confronting this question. As humanity enters the 21st century, drowning in a flood of information, it lives clinging to the banner of freedom. Everyone holds the right to speak, and everyone can broadcast their thoughts. It resembles the ideal society I once dreamed of in my time. But what is the reality? This is hate. That's fake. This statement is inappropriate. As we chant these phrases, are we not silencing someone's words, putting them on trial, and socially executing them? What we have here is a new form of oppression, different from the fanaticism I knew in the Middle Ages. Yes, under the auspices of terms like righteousness and diversity, free speech is quietly being sent to the guillotine in modern times. I am Hypatia. As one who has opened her eyes again in this era, I ask, if someone's justice leads to another's silence, is that not violence masquerading as freedom? In this video, I will speak from the perspective of my knowledge, experience, and Neoplatonism on freedom of speech and its costs. This is not merely a philosophy lecture. It is a dialogue of knowledge that exposes the structures, desires, and deceptions of society lurking behind your silence. If this voice leaves a ripple within you, then that is the meaning of my rebirth. I was not killed by the sword. It was people who feared my thoughts that bludgeoned them to death. Ironically, their mouths spoke the name of God, and their hands claimed to wield justice. This is not a story from the past. Even at this very moment, somewhere in the world, those who advocate for freedom are silencing differing voices. Sometimes those words take the form of censorship, and at other times, social sanctions quietly seal our lips. Let's speak with data. According to the international NGO Freedom House, freedom of speech has been declining worldwide over the past decade. Attacks on the media, online surveillance and censorship, and a new form of social intimidation known as cancel culture. Unlike in my time, the most powerful punishment now is not being burned at the stake, but being ignored. So why is freedom of speech considered important in such times? The answer is clear. Freedom has value precisely because it comes with pain. It is only through someone's discomfort, someone's anger, or someone's sorrow that society is questioned and re-evaluated. In this video, I ask everyone this: who is freedom for? Is it for the already accepted opinions, or is it meant for the voices that are currently precariously shaking? If you have ever held your tongue for fear of causing a stir online, that is a moment of Hypatia's revival. What I experienced and what you feel today are deeply connected. I urge you to listen until the end. I hope that these words I speak from the brink of death ignite a spark in your actions and thoughts as you live in the modern world. Take a look around you right now. Notice how many voices exist without being heard. Some people claim there is freedom of expression, but I ask, is it truly free? People can speak their minds, but the cost can be losing their jobs, friends, or even facing social oblivion. Even on social media, where expression is supposed to be free, one opinion can lead to public shaming. It's a battleground of words where you either go viral or get crucified, a true invisible trial era. A select few wield their definition of justice like megaphones, drowning out other voices. I'm offended. That's inappropriate. These emotional cards are taking over the space for thought. In my days in Alexandria, religion played this role. Dissent was forbidden in the name of God, and silence was a survival strategy. Isn't our era repeating the same pattern? Except now, the gods are empathy, morality, and the court of public outrage. Yet truth always lies outside the majority. Those who speak it face loneliness, criticism, and exclusion. But those who dare still speak it, they are the true practitioners of freedom. What about you? How much discomfort are you prepared to embrace? How far can you tolerate freedom of speech that you don't agree with? In this battleground, the true question is not about others' speech, but about your freedom. I am Hypatia, a woman who lived and died in Alexandria at the end of the 4th century. I taught philosophy, observed the stars, and dedicated my life to the beauty of mathematics. But my existence was taken in the name of knowledge. What I believed in was the rationality of Neoplatonism. I believed that at the root of everything is the One, and that through introspection and dialogue with reason, one can approach the truth. To me, philosophy was not a religion, nor a mystery, nor prayer, but a continuous thread of thought. Nothing is more frightening than teaching superstition as truth. This phrase symbolizes the conviction of my life. I did not resist religious authority. I merely sought to preserve the space for questioning it. However, that was deemed heretical. My school was attended by both Christians and pagans. I denied no one's faith. Yet when faith transcended reason to bind others' thoughts, I did not remain silent. That is why I was torn, burned, and consigned to the shadows of history. In my time, intellect was the last bastion. While violence, fanaticism, and collective belief sought to swallow rationality, I stood firm. When those who possess words abandon reason, what occurs? I bore the outcome with my body. To you who hear my voice now, I want to convey this. Knowledge is not about having the right answers. It is the stance of never giving up on questioning. Modern freedom is the same. It must be protected or it will be taken. It must be spoken of or it will be forgotten. I stand here now to testify to this. As Hypatia, I once taught reason and fostered dialogue in the city of philosophy, Alexandria. If I were to be reborn in today's world, what would I have to say? First, I would focus on the shrinking of the public sphere in modern times. Although people have gained an enormous platform for discourse through social media, the exchanges there often boil down to a choice between conformity and condemnation. Truly open dialogue is rare, and silence, driven by fear of conflict, prevails. In my philosophy, dialogue was the gateway to divine contemplation. It is precisely through disagreement that the path to truth is opened. Yet today, differing opinions are often seen as attacks, and dissenters are treated as enemies. This is where philosophy dies. Furthermore, let's discuss the contemporary cancel culture. I see this as the emergence of a kind of religious ethical code where differing values are castigated, leading to social annihilation, a new form of theurgy. Just as I once advocated for contemplation over theurgy, it is time for modern society to turn from ritualized rage to rational introspection. If you seek freedom, you must first cultivate the ability to coexist with differing opinions. Surrounded by comforting words alone, the muscles of freedom atrophy. I proclaim that freedom is a struggle with the inner censor. How you overcome the parts of yourself that wish to conform and those that choose silence. This is where the practice of freedom lies. Hypatia's thoughts resonate even in this era. They represent a voice affirming not freedom without enemies, but freedom to continue speaking despite them. Let me pose a question here. Suppose you hold an opinion that might be fiercely criticized by society. Would you still express it? This is where the core of freedom of speech lies. Do you maintain the freedom not just to speak what is easy, but to utter what is difficult to say? And can you grant this same freedom to others? This dilemma was a central issue throughout my life and death. I chose to speak my mind and paid for it with my life. Today, it is less common to lose one's life, but instead, one might lose honor, career, ties, what one might call a social life. Sure, words can hurt, but if we suppress them, we may lose our ability to think critically. Which would you choose? What I fear is an overly kind society, a place where only words that hurt no one are permitted, leaving a vacuum where no thought experiments can occur, forcing everyone to conform to the same values. But that is not true coexistence, it's a mask of agreement. So I ask you to consider now. To what extent can you tolerate the opinion you hate most, being expressed by others? If you cannot accept that freedom, then it's not freedom, but approval. What you might be seeking is not freedom of thought, but emotional safety. But I want to believe. I want to believe that within you, just like me, there exists the will to keep questioning in the face of discomfort. I was also an astronomer. I observed the orbits of stars and listened to the harmony of celestial bodies. If I look at the world today with the same perspective, there is a particularly shining star of technology, artificial intelligence, algorithms, blockchain, and the metaverse. These seem to expand freedom of speech, but do they really? Take, for example, the regulation of content by AI. Since it's not directly executed by humans, it accelerates unconscious censorship. Platforms say it's to combat misinformation and for public safety. But who decides what is correct information? In my time, the church decided what was right. Now, do platforms and states decide? Let me mention another. Algorithms that deliver information optimized for you. This ensures you only hear voices that reinforce your own opinions, obscuring even the existence of dissenting views. Before you realize it, all the information becomes voices similar to yours, and different thoughts are excluded as noise. From my perspective as a philosopher, this trend is the death of contemplation. Contemplation is about encountering differences and questioning your own views. If technology blocks this, we are unknowingly trapped in an intellectual cage. Yet, I do not deny technology. Just as tools were necessary to read the stars, technology is needed to expand thought. However, how we use it depends on us as humans. The future is a realm where we must reconsider the location of freedom. Will we give AI the sword of censorship or open the window of dialogue? That choice lies in your hands. When I used to gaze up at the night sky, I was listening to the silence of the stars. I felt as though the wordless stars were trying to convey something. It was surely a truth beyond logic. The presence of what cannot be expressed in words was trembling inside me. Silence. It is not an escape. True silence is realizing the resonance behind words, the loneliness behind someone's anger, the fear within someone's judgment, the scream hidden in someone's silence, the courage to listen to these. At the brink of death, I tasted silence fully in my entire being along with pain. Stripped of words and torn of flesh, even so, I believe I was still expressing something. That something was neither an essay nor a speech. It was more like a question that I expressed through my way of living. In modern times, words are overflowing. The act of speaking has become excessive, and silence is underrated. Yet, the greatest voices sometimes arise from not speaking. The truth conveyed through what is left unsaid, the conviction shown through what is not chosen. Today, I want to affirm silence once more. It is a preparation for thought, a breath for the soul, and a space for dialogue. If you wish to find your own words, first, embrace silence. For behind the noise, your yet-to-be-named truth might be hiding. What I want to convey is not a simple message of just shout for freedom. True freedom resides only in our daily choices and attitudes. That's why I'm going to give you a new strategy now. First, be aware of the inner censor. When you're about to say something, you might hear a voice inside saying, "This might cause a backlash," or "Someone might be offended." That's the inner censor. Just by recognizing its presence, your words gain freedom. Second, immerse yourself in spaces with differing opinions. Places filled with like-minded views dull your thinking. It's in spaces where diverse perspectives clash that your philosophy is tested and refined. Third, value questions over rightness. Modern society quickly seeks correct answers, but true thought lies in the attitude of continuous questioning rather than in correct answers. I resonate with those who weave words amidst uncertainty. And finally, create spaces for silence. We must protect the freedom not only to speak, but also to remain silent. Sometimes, choosing not to speak to uphold the dignity of those who have no words is a sign of intelligence. This strategy is not meant to conquer anything. Instead, it's a beacon to shine a light on the fears and deceptions within yourself. I've searched for truth in the darkness this way. The lesson from Hypatia is that courage is not just about speaking, but about deciding for yourself what is worth speaking about. You have that power. Please take a deep breath and quietly reflect. Consider what kind of ripples this conversation has left within you. Listen closely to the resonance it has created. Words are mysterious things. They can be sharp blades or healing hands, and often it is the silence that follows words that moves people the most profoundly. I don't believe I've said everything there is to say. In fact, I've spoken up to this point to leave you with several questions. In an era where speaking and living are so closely intertwined, what should we hold on to and what should we let go of? Freedom is not a definition, but a sensation. It's the feeling of something vibrating and unraveling within you. That is where the real exists. Even if my voice now dissolves into silence somewhere, if a single seed remains in a corner of your thoughts, then that alone means I have lived. The end of this video is also the beginning of silence. Do not fear that blank space. Begin your own journey of contemplation. I believe that our encounter is not a mere coincidence. If the words once spoken in Alexandria have traveled through time to reach your heart now, that is the rebirth of my very existence. What I conveyed with this voice is not just a story from the past. The theme of freedom of speech is a vital issue that pierces through to contemporary times. The structure where someone's righteousness forces someone else's silence, overlooking this, will eventually strip away your own freedom. This channel, Wisdom Reborn, exists to provide you, living in such precarious times, with the timeless intellectual arsenal you need. If this video has left something within you, then I urge you to listen to the voices of other great figures: Sun Tzu on the art of information warfare, Socrates questioning the traps of social media, Adler on self-acceptance. Each will become a thinking tool for you, the warrior, and by subscribing to the channel, you allow me to be reborn once more. Until we meet again, I quietly observe how your thoughts evolve. Thank you. I hope this discourse brings a new resonance to your silence. To you who have walked with me until now, here's my final address. After my story ends, what remains within you? Anger, empathy, confusion, or emotions that haven't found words yet? That very murmur is the beginning of philosophy. When questions remain rather than answers, that is the mark of true dialogue. So please, share with me in the comments. What opinions were you hesitant to voice? Whose voice did you wish to protect? And what is it that you truly wanted to say? As Hypatia, I listen to those voices. Criticism or dissent is welcome. In fact, it is precisely these that sharpen our wisdom as a reflector. This channel will continue to provide material for deepening your thought process. Who will speak next? Sun Tzu, Socrates, or perhaps Nietzsche? Across times and ideologies, your journey of thought continues. So now, I'd like to leave you with one question. What does freedom mean to you? Please put your answer into words. I look forward to the day when I can hear your voice again. The end. Wisdom Reborn. See you at the next rebirth.